Corey Hewins, did y'all see OBJ's comments on artificial turf?
Yeah, I did.
Going back to the Giants game, right?
Yeah, I think because what Sterling Shepard tore his ACL at the end of that game, man, just running literally straight on the turf. But
Literally jogging.
yeah. So the big issue in terms of the turf, pros and cons. The cons to it are your feet get stuck a lot. So that's when you talk about like knee injuries, you're more prone to tear ACLs, you're more prone to tear knee ligaments or leg ligaments when you're on turf, just because of how it grips, and it is not forgiving in the sense it's the equivalent of running on concrete. So any of my runners out there, or even hoopers, you know how it is when you're running up and down that floor, man, your knees hurt, your hips hurt. That's what it's like playing on turf as well. But the injury risk is very, very high. Now, the pros to having turf is number one, weather-wise, especially in the north part of the country, northeastern part where you get snow, where you get all that type of stuff, you don't have to worry about the fields freezing. You don't have to worry about the upkick. You think about in Pittsburgh how we've seen the clips of when it was Heinz Field actually, and how it would get destroyed when you have a game on Friday, then Pitt plays on Saturday. By the time the Steelers get out there on Sunday, it's literally just dirt and sand spray painted green. Like that's what they would do. And when you're talking about the quality, at times people didn't want to play in Pittsburgh because the field wasn't the condition that it needed to be, but that was the grass part of it, right? Now, when you're talking about turf, you don't have to worry about those conditions. You don't have to worry about the field freezing. You don't have to worry about it getting chopped up because so many people are running on it. So it's a low maintenance thing, but the risk of injury is heightened when you're on turf. The other thing is, yeah, you're going to feel faster on turf, because it's like I said, running on cement. You know what I mean? So you're hitting that ground, boom, boom, boom. You're able to get back and stuff like that. So that part is dope. But once again, when you talk about the longevity, it's terrible for your knees, it's terrible for your hips, terrible for your lower back. So you feel that. And a lot of times, even as a player, the older you get, man, you hate when you're playing on fields that are turf, because you know it's going to take you a little bit longer in terms of your recovery. When we would practice, we would always want to practice outside, even when it was snowing, because we're like, man, at least we have a grass field in Pittsburgh. But when it got to go inside, that's when you go into the turf. So you'll see guys take off the cleat shoes and wear like the turf shoes and stuff like that, just to kind of mitigate or try to lower that risk injury and stuff like that, man. So now he's definitely right with it, but I can understand from an owner's perspective why they're not jumping at the opportunity to switch out all the turf fields, because it is going to cost a lot more in terms of just your maintenance. It takes a lot more effort in terms of just keeping the field from freezing, keeping the field in nice playing condition. You got to reside it and stuff like that. So
here's what he said: just get rid of it altogether.
Mm-hmm.
Billions made off this game. I can't understand why we can't play on grass.
Yeah,
that shit is rough. Prayers up for my brother. Shit just hurt my heart.
Mm-hmm.
So here's my question then, because I think he's got a point where
he definitely does have a point.
The NFL is making so much money.
Yep.
You can get every field on grass. It's
You could.
just the maintenance that you were talking about. All right,
Yeah.
do it for the player safety. How did you feel about the grass later in the season, as you're talking about when they replaced it in Heinz Field, and it was like it looked dead. It always looks dead like later in the season.
Like of recently, they've changed it and they've done a lot better job with it. But for a while, you hated playing in Pittsburgh in November, December, January.
Better or worse than turf, though?
No, it was worse because
really?
Yes, that's what you were here to talk about, wearing 7-stud cleats and staggering them because you couldn't get grip. Or you have to worry about the field being frozen. That was another thing that you kind of deal with. So it's a lot of things that when you're on grass and that field freezes, you hit that ground, you're going to get knocked out. Like, it's going to put you to sleep, or you have a back injury, depending on where you're playing at. You know, if you got the Miami team, you might have a back injury. You might call that. But for us, we call it concussions. But that does increase when you are playing on your grass fields, because they don't give at all in terms of when they get frozen in the later part of the year. So a lot of times you want to have some type of heating system in there as well. But once again, when you're talking about the cost part of it for these NFL owners, let's be real. It's plenty of things that they could be doing with those billions of dollars, right? For player safety, for whatever. But they pick and choose what they want to do. So for this right here, they're picking and choosing. They don't have to change it. Does it make sense to? Sure. Does it help the product? Sure. But if you think about their overarching business model, they're not tripping on players getting hurt, because they know what? We got a fresh crop of new guys coming in every single year. Younger guys anyways, new stars anyways. And as long as we keep turning it over, we never have to worry about it being kind of like the NBA, where players become bigger than teams and people root for players. Here, you're still loyal to your team, your logo, because you never have a guy outside of a Ben Roethlisberger, which is a rarity, right? It's not a lot of guys that last that long on one team. So from a business perspective, it even makes sense for them not to touch it also. But that's the part that OBJ is still fussing about, because we're saying, hey man, if we're your product and you care about us, take care of us. And this is what you could do right now to help that. But this isn't nothing new. We were hollering about this in 2010 in Buffalo, where the Bills were rated as having the worst turf and having the most knee injuries and injuries that were taking place on that field. We hollered about that in 10, 11, 12, and they never changed anything. Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, that's the sad truth of the matter, though.
Yeah. Today's show is brought to you by True Classic Tees. Now, y'all seen us wear these tees on the show before, man. Extra comfy. And I love the fact that when you're talking about the design of them, I talked about, man, that athletic tailored feel, but at the same time, a little bit more room in that midsection for the guys that used to have them six packs that no longer reside with six packs anymore. But either way, man, it's a dope site, man. They got dope material up there, man, in terms of the t-shirts, long sleeve shirts, sweatshirts, sweatpants, things like that, man. And as Deke can tell you as well, they do feel really nice and comfy, man. So I definitely like that. But more important, he said, yeah, this is true. This is definitely true, man. But more importantly, we got a promo code for you, baby. That promo code is MOATS. If you use that, you get 25% off at trueclassictees.com, baby. So, like I said, man, don't waste time, man. Get with the cool kids, baby, because these shirts for guys or ladies, you will enjoy them, okay? Trust me on this one. So, shout out to True Classic Tees, and more importantly, shout out to them for sponsoring today's show.